To start off this video, I'd like to say that some of these weapons have modifiers that buff them, so some of these weapons may be stronger or weaker by a tad. So in order to pre-hard mode to hard mode, I will leave the crafting recipes in the corner if you don't catch me saying it. As you know, Terraria just got the Labor of Love update. There's much to cover for this video, but I'm first simply just going to cover the new weapons added. I'll do more reviews of the update later, so stay notified. Let's just lay out the ground rules for a weapon to fall in this list. So if there's a change that I think is significant enough to be mentioned, the following qualities that are required for the weapon to be mentioned is if there's a major sprite change, if there's a major damage/buff increase, if there's a new effect or a simple visual effect added, if there's a nerf, or if it's a new weapon. An honorable mention is the Ashwood set and the Flymail sword, as they are new weapons but too mundane to be added in this list in my opinion. As always, make sure to let me know if I missed any weapons, like for more guides/reviews for the Labor of Love update. The Wand of Frosting is a direct upgrade from the Wand of Sparking. Instead of lighting enemies on fire, it has a 2 out of 3 chance of giving them the Frostburn debuff, which is a stronger version of the Fire debuff. It is crafted with the Wand of Sparking and 99 ice torches. It costs 2 mana each use, so you can use it continuously right off the bat without running out of mana too quickly. It can also pierce one enemy, and it's nice if you find it right off the bat, like I said before, because you have a very strong weapon to start with. The Rotted Fork is a Crimson exclusive weapon and can be attained by smashing a Crimson Heart. It now has a cool red shockwave effect at the end, and the size of it is increased by how fast your melee speed is. When up close, it can pierce up to 6 enemies. When not, it can pierce up to 5 or 4. Here's all the added stats. The Light's Bane is a Corruption exclusive sword and is crafted with 10 Demonite bars. It now has a cool purple darkness slash every single time you swing, which is useful to keep enemies at bay. Every now and then a larger slash will appear, dealing even more damage than normal slashes. Normal slashes range from 7 to 15 damage, meanwhile the larger slash ranges from 7 to 20 damage. Here's all the added stats. The Blade of Grass is a jungle sword, and the recipe has been changed. It is now crafted with 3 vines, 15 stingers, and 12 spores. It now has a new ability of every time you swing, it will launch a razor leaf that spirals upwards and deals around 4 to 5 extra points of damage, and it will ignore some enemy defense. It can inflict the poison debuff, which has now been buffed to do more damage, and is useful from tagging in front and above. Here's all the new stats. The Trimarang is a new boomerang that combines the enchanted boomerang, the ice boomerang, and the shooterang. Up to 3 can be thrown at once. It is a decent starting weapon if you get lucky with some drops. It doesn't inflict any debuffs, but is still quite useful for an early game. The Blood Butcher is a Crimson alternative to the Light's Bane, and has a new lingering effect where if you hit an enemy, it gives a debuff that will slowly chip away at their health. The max amount of chip damage that will stack up goes all the way up to 20 damage. It is very useful for farming, as whenever you hit something, it will slowly back off but die by the time it gets to you. There's no new stats that have been added or removed for the Blood Butcher. The High Five Yo-Yo is a new bee-styled yo-yo with an effect where if you hit an enemy, it will at least kill a bees to attack it. Not much new info is given on the High Five as it just came out, other than it can be crafted with beeswax dropped from the Queen Bee. I'm not sure if it benefits from the Hive Pack, but I would assume so. The Muramasa is a fast-swinging sword obtained from the dungeon. After being Skeletron, there's a new effect where if you hit an enemy, a blue slash will appear, causing a double hit effect. This slash will deal half the amount of damage of the Muramasa. The Starfury is a weapon that can be attained from the Sky Islands. The falling star projectile that comes from the Starfury has had its sprite redone and now falls more frequently. The star will also now go through blocks instead of just stopping right when it hits a block. Here's all the new stats. The Volcano is a fire-type sword and is crafted with 20 hellstone bars. It now has a new exploding effect upon impact, dealing large amounts of damage. Explosions will also impact nearby enemies. This is also very good weapon for mid-game, I would say. Here are the new stats. The Knight's Edge is a strong sword that is crafted with the Blade of Grass, the Light's Bane, or the Blood Butcherer, the Muramasa, and the Volcano. It now has a completely redone attack with a large radius that is a dark slash, and you get a second slash dealing the same amount of damage, but increasing the total range for the sword. It now is a medium range sword, and the new slash does not give a new projectile. However, it does give more range for farming. No new stats have been added. The Dark Lance is a strong spear obtained from the Underworld biome in the Shadow chest. Keep in mind you must be Skeletron before being able to unlock these chests. Similar to the Rotted Fork, now generates a purple shockwave that can pierce up to 7 or more enemies. It can now inflict the Shadow Flame debuff too. Just like before, the faster your attack speed is, the better the shockwave. Here's all the added stats. The Elf Melter is very similar to the Flamethrower in terms of buff and particle effects, but instead of shooting fire, it shoots Frostfire and inflicts Frostbite debuff instead of Hellfire debuff, whichever. Here's all the added stats. The Gungnir is a strong spear and is crafted with 12 hollowed bars. It is similar to the Dark Lance with a golden shockwave at the end. It definitely will pierce over 7 enemies, and the shockwave increases the faster your melee speed is. This is now a actually viable weapon after you beat one of the mechs now. Here's all the added stats. The Excalibur is a step up from the Knight's Edge and is crafted with 12 hollowed bars. It has a large golden energy slash that will whirl around the player every single time you swing, and is now better for range coverage. Good for keeping on back watched while also hitting enemies from the front at the same time. Here are all the added stats. The true Excalibur is a step up from the regular one and is crafted with a regular Excalibur and 24 chlorophyte bars. It has a much larger hit range now and is able to cover most of the player's body. It no longer has a projectile, sadly though, but does have a cool particle effect. Here's all the added stats. The true Knight's Edge is a much more powerful version of the Knight's Edge and is crafted with the Knight's Edge, 20 Souls of Sight, 20 Souls of Fright, and 20 Souls of Might. The projectile now is now a large energy disc and has a much bigger range, which starts slow but grows with speed over time. It also is nice for covering your front and back at the same time. Here's all the added stats. The Terra Blade is a combination of the true Knight's Edge and the true Excalibur, and a broken hero sword. It has been completely redone in particle effects and has a giant green slash that goes completely around the player and sends out a very large fast moving waves of energy, as opposed to before it was just a small projectile. It does not pierce infinitely though. Here is all the added stats. And finally, the Horseman's Blade is a very strong post-Plantera weapon dropped from the Pumpkin Moon. It has an orange-ish slash similar to the Excalibur and has a large increase in damage. Pumpkins will not spawn from statue spawn enemies now. Pumpkins still do, however, spawn, but not as much as all the others. Here's all the added stats. thank you guys so much for watching. This video did take a little bit of time, considering that I had to get every single one of these weapons, and some of these are like really far in the game, so it's kind of hard to grind for them. But I would very much appreciate it if you would like and subscribe if you like this video. Please let me know if you want more reviews, because I certainly have plenty of time to.